morning, guys. Good morning. I don't like this filter. I look like I have a sunburn. How is everyone? Happy Monday. Ready for your Monday morning motivation. That was fun trying to say in my video. Say that 3 times fast. I do not like looking like I have a freaking sunburn. Go. How are you, Laura? Welcome in, guys. For those who don't know, my morning streams are all about motivation. I don't answer yes/no questions. We are just literally, we go through a chapter or two, depending on you are a badass at this moment. We discuss things, how it correlates with what I teach with manifesting. I highly recommend this author. She is incredible. The way she writes it feels like I'm talking to a friend as I read it, just because I feel that's exactly how I would talk. It's not too uptight, it's kind of chill, but when she gets excited, like, she speaks my language. Okay, so that's how I feel about this author. She's really good. And she really hits everything. Like I said, it's almost from a very logical standpoint when it comes to manifesting, where a lot of the things I talk about can seem almost spiritual. So she does talk spirituality, but she brings it on more like on a science logical level for you to understand how this works and why this works, and gives you that motivation to really apply what she talks about. And that's the biggest thing that we talk about here, too, is you can read as many books as you want. You can have a whole bookcase and Kindle and full of self-help or self-development, all of that. But until you apply what you're reading, it's not going to matter. You can have all the knowledge in the world. The biggest thing is to just apply what you're learning. You should be manifesting every day. You are already on autopilot. So you should be consciously manifesting each and every day something that you truly want, and stop going down that route of what you don't want. Don't let your fears come in and distract you and knock you off of what you truly want. The key is to be aware. Be aware of how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and being able to shift away from what you don't want, right? And more into what you do want. Does anybody want to just... How did everyone's weekend go? Let's go there before I start in on the chapter. Anybody have anything exciting happen over the weekend? My sister and I, we did mediumship readings on Saturday evening, and it knocked the crap out of me for yesterday, so that's why I was not online. But it was, it was a good time. It was a good time. And plus it was daylight savings time. We got to go back an hour, so I got an extra hour of sleep. I feel like I slept all day yesterday. No one wants to share? We're actually into part 2 of You Are a Badass. And this part of the book is how to embrace your inner badass. So, since everyone's being kind of quiet, I'll move into that. I'll begin reading on that, and we'll stop and discuss as we go. So, this chapter is called Love the One You Is. See what I mean? Like, that's not exactly proper grammar, but hey. If we really love ourselves, everything in our life works. And that's from Louise Hay. And if you guys don't know who Louise Hay is, I highly recommend that you check that out. and check her out. She's no longer here on this earth, but she has so many books on how to change your life. So she's definitely one to look into. Thank you, Heavenly Faith. We know Jesus loves us. I'm not doing yes no's. I don't do yes no's on the morning streams. That is only on my evening streams. We are learning and exploring You Are a Badass in the mornings. So, and learning more about manifesting and how to create the reality that you truly want. Good morning, Issa. How are you, baby? Grace, I see you. How is everyone? I hope everyone had a great weekend. Alright, so I'm gonna get started on part of this chapter. This is a big chapter compared. Hello, hello. Good morning. Brown sugar. I sent the link for the book to my friend in Spain in Spanish. That's awesome. I love that. I love sharing these types of things. You know, some things will hit people and some things won't. But you know, it never hurts to try. She's reading it. That's amazing. Yeah, I think she has all of her books on in available in Spanish now. I'm pretty sure. All right. Good morning, Sledge. You're fabulous. I love it. All right. So she says, I was hanging out at my brother Bobby's house one day, lying on the couch, watching his then 2-year-old son waddle around. At one point, someone knocked something off the coffee table, and my little nephew bent down to pick it up. Bobby turned to me and said, "Did you see that?" The guy knows exactly how it's done. He bends at the knees, keeps his back straight, hips squared, stomach tight, flawless. Thrilled to have such a willing and skilled Exhibit A, Bobby then proceeded to spend the next couple of minutes dropping more things on the floor. A spoon, a TV remote, an empty can of beer, and my nephew, in perfect form, continued to pick it all up as my brother kept up running commentary on his posture, muscle usage, seriousness of manner, and the fact that my nephew was pulling it all off with great dignity, even though his diaper was sagging. It's incredible. This kid could flip over a car without straining his back. I can barely pull up my pants without having to be rushed to the hospital. When we're born, we have an instinctual understanding of some of the most important basics of the life that includes and goes way beyond bending at our knees instead of our lower backs to pick a beer can up off the floor. We're born knowing how to trust our instincts, how to breathe deeply, how to eat only when we're hungry, how to not care about what anyone thinks of our singing voices, dance moves, or hairdos. We know how to play, create, and create love without holding back. Then, as we grow and learn from the people around us, we replace many of these primal understandings with negative, false beliefs. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I don't do yes-nos in the morning. That's only my evening streams. Thank you, though. You're welcome to stop in later. Then we wind up in an emotional and physical pain. Then we either numb our pain with drugs, sex, booze, TV, Cheetos, etc., or we settle for mediocrity. Or we rise to the occasion, remember how truly mighty we are, and set out to relearn everything we knew at the beginning all over again. So, we really are born knowing instinctually what we need to do. In the mornings, we just talk, we talk about You Are a Badass. Well, for now, I wanted to help people learn how to manifest their best life. And I think this helps everybody. This is a great book. It's an easy read. Thank you for the roses, Spiritual. I appreciate you. So we kind of go over a little bit each day. We talk about it. We show how you can apply it, and you'll start seeing changes if you actually apply it, not just listen, right? Actually apply what you learn. It's called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. And you can get this book. I get this book off of thriftbooks.com. I don't know if you're in the States or not. But that's where I get all my books from there. Is it spiritual? It is. It's not completely, because she talks about spirituality, of course, but she's very logical, and she breaks it down to where you don't have to be like all in the woo. So that's why I like it, because I think a lot of people get so caught up or get so worried that they won't understand the whole spiritual side of it, right? So she does a lot of explaining with that. She explains things more on a logical sense. Thrift books, yeah, that's where I get all my books. They're all, secondhand. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some new ones too, but they have a good program. That's where I get a lot of it. You can even check out your local library. It could be there too. Welcome in, by the way, Rachel. All right. So, like I was saying, we are already born with what we need to know, right? And we were discussing this last week too, like that's where we get our self-limiting beliefs, right? Our parents, our society, our environment. We start learning another site I'm going to be addicted to, right? So we learn all of this, and it takes away our natural instincts. It happens to everybody. But good morning. So this is where we have to acknowledge and start to acknowledge like where we shifted, where we changed, where we took that instinct away, and how do we gain it back. So she goes on to say, it's like we're born with a big bag of money, more than enough to fund any dream of ours, and instead of following our instincts and our hearts, we invest in what other people believe we should invest in. Some people invest in believing they're too old to go out clubbing when they love nothing more than to boogie. Some invest in being tough and too cool for school when all they want is love and connection. Some invest in being ashamed of the sexuality instead of being their glorious gay selves. As we continue to buy into these things that aren't even true for us, our inner fortunes dwindle away. And it isn't until we reconnect with who we truly are and start investing in what's true for us that we start to live rich, full, authentic lives. And while there are countless ways that we rip ourselves off, there's one way in particular that is, without a doubt, the most rampant and most devastating of all. We invest everything we've got in believing that we're not good enough. We arrive here as perfect little bundles of joy and then set about the task of learning to unlove ourselves. How unbelievably ridiculous is that? Self-love, the simple yet most powerful thing ever, flies right out the window when we start taking in outside information. I'm not talking about conceit or narcissism. Main nerve to it in facts, right? I'm not talking about conceit or narcissism, because those things also come from fear and lack of self-love. I'm talking about a deep connection with our highest selves and an unshakable ability to forgive our lowest. I'm talking about loving ourselves enough to let go of the guilt, resentment, and criticism and embrace compassion, joy, and gratitude. When we're happy and all in love with ourselves, we can't be bothered with the bullshit, our own or other people's. So think about that. Think about when you truly are living your best life, let's say, or things are starting to go your way. You don't entertain the bullshit. You don't entertain the negativity because you're like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Like, oh my god, my cat, Rory. This is not a toy. Okay, it is not a jungle gym for you. Can you stop? Um. So why do we entertain it when, when things are going wrong? It's an addiction and it's easy to do. We entertain the negativity because misery loves company, right? When things are going wrong and our friend is talking about how they're having a rough day, we're like, oh man, me too. We want to be part of that Me Too movement. And I don't mean the one that was happening a couple years ago. We want to be part of, oh, I get it. I understand. Like, I'm having it too. But instead, we're so focused on the negative instead of trying to shift. Okay, like, I know today really sucks. How can we shift it? We did so good telling ourselves the toxic relationship others just don't get, but don't defend ourselves. Yep. We we put so much on others. What time do you go in on the evening? I'm trying to catch you about 2 nights now. Um, well, I didn't go live yesterday because the night before we did mediumship readings and that knocks the snot out of me. So usually I'm on by 7 p.m. Eastern time in the evenings. So, um, imagine what our world would be like if everyone loved themselves so much that they weren't threatened by other people's opinions, or skin colors, or sexual preferences, or talents, or education of possessions, or lack of possessions, or religious beliefs, or customs, or their general tendency to just be whoever the hell they are. Imagine how different your reality would be and the reality of everyone surrounding you if you woke up every morning certain of your own lovability and your critically important role on this planet. And if you poo pooed shame, guilt, self doubt, and self loathing and allowed yourself to be, do, and have everything your little heart desired, that's the kind of world I want to live in. In the interest of perpetuating such radical, reality altering self love, here are some ways to win yourself over again. Good morning, Indigo. How are you? Appreciate how special you are. My cat keeps knocking my stuff over. There will never be anyone exactly like you. You were given special gifts and talents to share with the world. And even though everybody has special gifts and talents, nobody will use theirs quite the same way you do. You have a way of being in the world and a perspective that's unique to you. You are the only one who thinks your thoughts the way you think them. You have created your own unique reality and are living your life according to your own unique path. You are the only you that will ever be. You are kind of a big deal. Stop diminishing yourself. Stop dulling your shine. Stop thinking you're not special. You're unique. There's so much about you that is different from me. The way I think, the way I feel, the way I approach life is completely different than somebody else. It could be similar, but it is still different, right? And you guys hear me say it, different is better than better, right? We want to be different. We want to do things differently, right? We have to. Otherwise, we just fall back into autopilot until next reincarnation. Right? No, I get that though. Um, we want to, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn. We're here to grow, right? So we need to pull ourselves out of that autopilot. You're number one in a different way. Yeah. Yeah. And we don't want to, we have such a tendency to talk down and self-deprecate ourselves. Because, and we were talking about this, I think, on the live on Saturday. Like, a lot of the times people will do this. They will talk themselves down, or they'll make fun of themselves, or they'll, you know, really hurt, like, say bad things about themselves, because if they can say it to themselves, it doesn't hurt as bad when somebody else says it about them. But you're crushing your own soul, right? You're talking down to yourself. It's a self-defense mechanism. I get it. Like I said, it makes you feel like, well, if I can say this to myself, then when somebody else says it, it's not going to hurt. Thank you for sharing the live. And so we need to look at that, because talking down to ourselves or making fun of ourselves or is actually doing us a huge disservice. Drown yourself in affirmations. Trust me, I wouldn't do this to you unless I had to, but affirmations work. You don't have to say them in a mirror. You don't have to hug yourself or buy a special rainbow journal with a lock on it to write them down in. But if you want to turn the ship around, you need to rewire your brain and train it to think differently. And this is what affirmations can do for you. Figure out which affirmations you need to hear the most and repeat them all day long in your head, in the car, while you're walking down the street, pretending to be on the phone, under your breath, in the line at the DMV. Write them on Post-it notes and stick them around your house, on your mirrors, in your refrigerator, in your car. Write down your favorite affirmations 10 times every morning and 10 times every night before you go to bed, and say them out loud. Here's some affirmations specific to self-love. Pick one or two that work for you and pummel yourself with them. I deserve and receive massive amounts of love every moment of every day. I'm one with the universe. The universe is awesome, and so am I. My heart is open. Love pours in and out. I receive all the good that life has to offer me. I am brilliant, bright, and beautiful. I love how tall I am, and I love the size of my ass. Or whatever. It's not, if none of these work, come up with some that don't make you gag, but strike a nerve with you. The more emotion you feel around what you're saying, the more power it will have to bring about positive change. And yes, at the beginning, it may feel like you're lying to yourself, but the truth is you're living the lie. So the affirmations get you back to the truth. This can't be just rattling off nonsense. You have to feel it and want it and get worked up by it in order for it to work. And I talk about this a lot. I receive all that negative but reverse into positive to make me stronger than before. I like that. I talk about this a lot because it has to be believable. I love a good affirmation. I use affirmations on the daily. I do. I don't focus on it quite as much as she talks about, right? But because you have to find something that really does connect with you. So it could be, it might not be as strong as, like I say, if you want to sit there and say, I'm a millionaire, but you're really still feeling like a broke ass bitch, guess what? You're going to continue to be a broke ass bitch. I mean, you can continue to start saying it, and you're going to shift into different ways, right? But instead of saying I'm a millionaire, I say I create my own wealth, right? I create my own wealth. I feel wealthy. I feel content, right? I'm content in the way that I create my wealth, whatever's going through my head. But But yeah, you can find the right affirmation for you and work on it, but make sure it hits right. Right? We don't want to just sit there and say, I create my own reality. What does that mean? What does that mean? Right? Like, and sometimes we want the ones that make you feel like you want to gag because you're like, oh man, is that really true? Like, but the more you do that, you're going to feel it in your gut on what's right. So hard to hear, but I love you for being here and doing this. Thank you. You're welcome, honey. I know it is, and I get it. And that's why I wanted to bring this. This is why I wanted to do this because even just a small change will reap big rewards. So even if we can acknowledge and we can see where we're really doing the damage and we can start to shift it, you're going to see so much change within your life. She says it's hard to hear your own struggles, right? It is hard to hear that it always comes back to us, right? But that's also a good thing because you are the only one who can fix it. So the awareness. Aw, you're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. But yeah, when you being aware and seeing where you are the one that's creating this, you're also the solution. Yes, and that's the thing. I want to create this community where, and I mean, I've already created it in a sense. You guys have all been in my lives, right? I want to boost you guys up. I want to create this safe space to where you can come and you can say, "Oh man, all right, I was having it rough, but now I know the power I have, right? And I'm going after it. Yes, I know it was me. So therefore, I'm also my solution." Because I feel like a lot of people look for outside to be, and I'm going to say this with the most love I have. We want to have that victim mentality, right? It's very normal, right? Well, I didn't do anything. They did it to me. But if we can take that power back, and you know what? Maybe I did have a part in it. I did believe this. I did do this. I chose to continue to go down this path. I chose to continue to go down that path. Now I can choose a different path. We take our power back by doing that. I'm not answering yes nos in the morning. I'm sorry, honey. Yes, but you evolved your learning and beautiful. Aw, thank you. You can do this. You can do it in your time, I believe. Yes. Yes. Grace is making leaps and bounds too. I mean, we all know we all have been through some shit. We all have been through some shit, right? So we're here for one another to help keep pushing you along. So we all have been there. Maybe not in the same way, but we all have been there and we're here to help. Number 3, she says, do the things you love. When you constantly deny yourself the people, food, things, and experiences that make you feel the most alive, that sends a pretty lousy message home. Look at your life and see where you're letting yourself down. If you hear yourself saying things like, I love going out to see live music, I can't remember the last time I did it, make time. But wobbly together we stand. Exactly, yes. We're all busy, but it's the people who make enjoying their lives a priority who enjoy their lives. Right now, there are thousands of people all over the world at yoga retreats, overlooking the ocean, dancing their asses off at outdoor music festivals, or whooping it up at the Disney cruise of their dreams. Really listen to how you speak and pay attention to what you do and make a conscious effort to increase your joy in whatever capacity you can. It can be anything from spending a weekday afternoon with a great friend, to quitting your hateful job, to buying a pair of completely impractical but completely awesome nude shoes, to going on a surf vacation in Costa Rica. It's about being proactive, about creating a life you love instead of meekly living the one you think you're stuck with. Give yourself the gift of joy of a joyous life while you're still among the living. Also, if you're the kind of person who puts everyone else's needs first, hello, I think that's about everybody that connects with me. We've all been that people pleaser, right? Start putting yours up front. Those who are used to being their personal assistant will still love you, even though they'll somewhat grouchy about you not waiting on them hand and foot anymore. Buy a new pair of jeans, open a savings account, hire someone to do your dishes, make your kids clean out the cat box. You aren't a selfish person for taking care of yourself, just a happier one. Take care of yourself as if you're the most awesome person you've ever met. Tell me that doesn't hit home, right? We wait on our children, our spouses, our family members, our parents, because we're so used to being the one that's relied on. It's okay for us to say, you know what? I'm not doing this today. You can do the dishes. You can, I'm taking 5 minutes for myself, right? Or you know what? Make dinner tonight. I need a break, right? I don't care what it is. I don't care if you order pizza. I don't care what it is. I'm taking some time for me, right? And stick with it. Stick to it for yourself. There's so many of us that put everybody else first, and all we want is 5 minutes to sit down, right? 5 minutes without being asked for something. Just because they ask you for something doesn't mean you have to jump and say, okay, I'll go get it. This happens to me all the time. I'm not kidding. I will sit down, and I swear to God, the moment I sit down, someone's like, hey, can I have this? Can you go get this? And I'm like, can I sit for 5 minutes? 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Right? And I do. Sometimes I get grouchy. So, it's taking the time to be like, yeah, I can do it. I'll do it in like 5-10 minutes from now. If you can't wait, then I guess you can go get it. Right? Because we deserve a break too. We deserve to relax. We don't always have to be pushing ourselves, right? Making sure that everybody's happy. No, take the time for you. Take the time for you and relax. Don't push yourself. Because I know for me, what I used to do is when I would sit down and somebody would be like, oh, can you do this for me? Can you get this for me? Or can I have this? Or I would be like, okay, I'll go do it now so that way I can just relax. Right? I kept putting it off and kept putting it off because I'm like, well, then if they have that, then they'll leave me alone. Right? Whereas if I'm like, all right, I'm not going to go, either I'm not doing it because I'm relaxing right now. Either you can go do it or you can wait till later. When I'm up and around, I'm taking the time for me right now. If you can't respect that, then, go do it yourself. So, and good morning, April. And we don't have to be bitchy about it, but sometimes it does come off that way. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I have a hard time getting I can get very snotty sometimes, especially when I'm like, dude, can I just sit for a minute? 1 minute, 5 minutes. But yeah, so. Next up, she says, find a replacement. We've gotten so used to our negative knee-jerk reactions to ourselves that we never think to question them. We simply take them as the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But once we become aware of our thought patterns and behaviors, we can consciously change them. So start paying attention. Good morning, Amanda. Thank you for the roses. What runs through your mind when you look in the mirror? What happens inside you when you see someone totally succeeding at something you'd love to do but have never let yourself try? What do you think and feel when you walk up to a group of really good-looking, successful people? Or when you try your best to pull something off and you fail? Or when you get dumped by someone who is totally awesome and hot? Or when you walk around all day with your fly open? Or when you leave your coffee on the roof of your car and drive off? Or when you let a friend down? Or when you stub your toe on the kitchen table for the 10th time? Or when you forget your dad's birthday? Or when you snap at someone who didn't quite deserve it as harshly as you gave it to them? Notice the verbiage that runs through your mind when you're being the most heinous to yourself and come up with a new and improved response. For example, if every time you look in the mirror, your first thought is yikes, make a conscious effort to change it to hi, gorgeous, right? How many times do we go into other people's lives, right? We go into their TikTok lives, or we see a video that they've made and posted. We see them, they post a picture on Facebook. How many times have anybody come, like, how many times do you come in my life and say, good morning, gorgeous, or good morning, beautiful, right? Are you saying that to yourself? Right? Are you saying that to yourself? Because I know there are times where I don't. I am exactly like that. I'm like, woof, man, I'm looking kind of rough this morning, right? Instead of saying, woo, I'm looking gorgeous this morning, right? So be aware of that. And why aren't you saying those things to yourself if you're able to say them to your friends, right? If you're able to say, wow, you look amazing, right? You look incredible. You just had a baby 3 weeks ago and you look absolutely stunning, right? But here we are looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, ugh, gonna need some extra concealer today, right? All right. If you have a complicated relationship with your father and beat yourself up every time you say something awful to him, replace I'm a monster with I'm just a little bunny working through my issues. And then, of course, apologize to him. I feel called out, right? I know. I do too. If your standard response to screwing something up is, ugh, her royal clumsiness strikes again, replace it with, what can I learn from this? I just laugh anymore. That's okay too. That's okay too. Right? You're not taking yourself so seriously. But that's something I do. Like when things really start to go south, I'm like, okay, what can I learn from this? Instead of going down that negativity rabbit hole, that negative, spiral. Like, oh, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? There's something that I can learn from this. So, the most important thing is to free yourself from the drama and the conviction that your current version of yourself is the truth. I don't care if you're all, that's easy for you to say. You don't have a nose that makes you look like somebody parked a yacht on your face. Because one day you could see some fancy and famous fashion model with a nose far bigger than yours who decided that she was gorgeous anyways, and suddenly you feel beautiful and confident and proud of your nose, when just the day before you were considering getting it sawed off. This is how ridiculous we are. Do not spend your life clinging to the insulting decisions you've made about yourself. Instead, make the conscious change to replace them with new and improved ones. I had to laugh about the nose thing because I've always been blessed with a much larger nose than most people. And I used to be very insecure about it. And I used to talk badly about myself about it. And over the years, it's taken a lot for me to be more comfortable with my nose. But I am. It is who I am. I mean, trust me. I went through maybe I should get a nose job. But I never felt quite right with that. Not that there's anything wrong with people getting nose jobs. There isn't. But I'm like, no, this fits my face. I had this nose for a reason. So, I just started to really, I guess I did it unknowingly. Like, no, my nose is fine. I like my nose. I love my nose. I love the way I look. Right? So, it took a while. I used to be so sensitive about it. Um, and even when I started to get more comfortable with it, I remember, this is in my 20s. Um, someone had said, you're really gorgeous, but I bet you have an issue with your nose, right? And I looked at, it was an older gentleman, and I was like, I used to, but no longer. He's like, well, that's good. That's wonderful. Like, fuck you, man. Like, no. Welcome in, Lindsay. All right. Ditch the self-deprecating humor. We were just talking about this earlier about how we make fun of ourselves, right? So, because that way it feels that if we can make fun of ourselves when other people do it, it doesn't hurt as bad. Incessant self-deprecating humor is for losers. I get it. It can be hilariously funny, and I'm totally guilty of it from time to time, and there's nobody I'd more enjoy backing over with my car than the guy who can't laugh at himself. But I'm talking about the non-stop I suck fest. Ripping on yourself gets old fast, especially if it's your shtick. So if you're one of those people who falls back on making fun of yourself every hour on the hour, not only are you basically begging people to think you're a loser, but you're begging yourself to think you're a loser. It's like hitting yourself over and over with a crowbar. Why on earth would you do that to your awesome self? What you tell yourself on a daily basis is more powerful than you know. Seemingly harmless jokes over time turn into seriously destructive beliefs. Our thoughts become our words become our beliefs become our actions become our habits, and our habits become our realities. So if your favorite joke is that you couldn't get a date if you demanded one at gunpoint and you spend every Saturday night alone, perhaps you should come up with a new one-liner. And most importantly, constantly making fun of yourself is such a cheap way to be funny. Anyone can do it, so push yourself to come up with a new script. Your confidence and we humor snobs will thank you. Right? So I definitely, anybody who's spoken with me personally knows that I will pull these things out when we're just talking and I hear people say things like that. Like, yeah, I can't find a date to save my life. That's what you're putting out there, right? That's what you're believing, and that's what you're putting out there. That's what you're manifesting, right? So it's important to pay attention to what you're saying about yourself, to yourself, and to others about yourself, right? Um, so that's definitely key. So we want to pay attention. Even you can partner up with a friend and say, I need you to call me out when you hear me talk about something negative, whether it's about myself or my decisions. I want to pay, sometimes I'm not picking it all up. Maybe you can help me, right? If you're really worried that you're not getting it all or you're not being aware, you can ask a friend to do that, to see if they'll just pay attention to the way you talk over the next few days and say, when I say something negative about myself or my situation, please call me out, please help me. If that's what you need to do to get into an awareness mindset, do it. Okay? Because it is mind boggling just how negative we are to ourselves. Thank you for the follow. All right. Let the love in. Receive compliments gracefully instead of countering with a disclaimer such as, oh, this ratty old thing, try this instead. Thank you. Period. Right? I talk about that a lot. Learn how to receive compliments to the point where you don't have to give one back. Just receive them and say thank you. I can't get my littles or husband to wake up this morning. Oh no. That's very important. Like, don't diminish what they say. Don't counter it with something that puts you down. Say thank you. And you don't have to always say something back. That's also a knee-jerk reaction, right? But is it genuine? I currently feel super called out, but I needed to hear this. Girl, we all have. Honestly, there's a lot that once this hits home for a lot of us. So you are in good company. Take care of your body too. We, if you're anything like me, run around all day doing all of our busy work with our poor bodies flapping behind us like old windsocks. We're pressed for time. It's often the first thing to get overlooked. I've got 5 meetings today. I'll do my yoga tomorrow and have a power bar for lunch. Meanwhile, during our little sojourn here on Earth, we need our bodies more than they need us. Say nice things about your body, dress it up, and take it out. Give it hot sex, luxurious baths, and massages. Move it, stretch it, nourish it, hydrate it, pay attention to it. The better our bodies feel, the happier and more productive we are, right? So take the time to do the nice things. We push ourselves so much, right? Our body is our temple. Our body is what's housing the soul. We have to take care of it. We have to do the things that show the appreciation for it. So feed it good, right? Hydrate it. Do the stretching, do yoga. You don't have to beat it up. You don't have to do the high impact, right? Just even stretching and getting it woken up instead of pushing it to run around, rolling out of bed and running around, right? Take the time and stretch, right? Work out the muscles, work it all out. Take the time to appreciate the body you have. Don't compare yourself to others. Have you ever done something that you're so proud of, feel all on top of the world about it until you see that someone else has done something similar that, in your mind, is better, and all of a sudden you feel sad? I'm walking in the park and listening. I love it, Issa. Comparison is the fastest way to take all the fun out of life. We were talking about this the other night on my live. We were speaking with somebody, and they compare themselves to so many other people that they weren't seeing their awesomeness, right? You're not gonna be like the next person in the room. Don't compare yourself, especially to, fictional characters. Don't do that. You are you for a reason. It's none of your business what other people are doing. That's me. All that matters is you're enjoying yourself and pleased with what you're creating. It's precisely your uniqueness that makes you awesome. Deciding that someone else's uniqueness is better than your own isn't exactly being your own best buddy about things. Can you imagine what our world would be like if our biggest heroes succumbed to the perils of comparison? If Marilyn Monroe compared herself to Kate Moss and decided that she needed to lose her curves. Can you imagine that? Or if the guys in Led Zeppelin compared themselves to Mozart. Dude, that guy's huge. Way huger than we'll ever be, and he doesn't even have a drummer. I think we should get rid of ours and maybe add some harps while we're at it. What? No. No. Right? You are more than enough. Avoid comparison like the plague. Right? Just because somebody does something similar to you. Just because, for me, even though there are people who do, that's one of the hardest things to get out of, but it's totally worth it. It is. Like, even for myself, like, I read tarot, I do manifesting coaching, mindset coaching. I do that. And there's so many different readers on the internet. And yes, there are ones that are better at certain readings than me. They do it differently than me, but that's them, right? There's enough space in this world for the ones that are, called to the way I read, right? Because for me, my readings aren't about just what's going on. My readings teach you how to create the life you want, right? We talk manifesting during the readings I do. And how can you change? How can you shift, right? Other people, they're doing incredible with their readings, right? And they address it differently. And you know it's just everybody is different. And just because, I mean, I have 5 people in this room right now learning about how to change their life. You know what? That's 5 people right now that are getting something from this. Okay? Now, I could sit here and I could whine and complain and be like, well, so and so gets, 300 people in their lives. I don't care. I don't care. Because I know those who are showing up and sitting here, they're getting something. I'm helping. I'm I'm helping you think and wanting to change your life. Okay? And right now it doesn't matter whether or not there's 300 people in here. Who knows what they're doing to get the 300, right? They could have worked their ass off for the past 2 years building that. It doesn't make me any less. I need a positive mantra for going into negative work environment. Um, so when it comes to negative work environments, focus on your day. How would you feel coming home? No, like, how do you want to come home? Right now you probably come home and say, oh, thank God I'm done with work. I don't have to see those fuckers until tomorrow. Right? Maybe instead coming home and saying, wow, I had an amazing day. Things went way better than what I thought. I know that's not a mantra, but this is how we manifest. And you can go into work, on your way to work, and you can say things like, I have the best coworkers, right? I love who I work with. Um, they're so kind, they're so generous, they're so helpful. Whatever works for you that you can believe. Different perspectives reach people differently. We every to be unique and authentic in their craft. Yes. Everything starts small doesn't mean less value. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I said, it could be, these people have been working hard at it, and, they've really built up a clientele. It could be that you know, they're doing a different kind of live than what I'm doing, right? They could be doing, spicy lives. I can't type this morning. I'll be quiet. No, you're fine. You're all right, Liz. I get it. Ugh. All right. Forgive yourself. Listen up. This one's extremely important. You've screwed up in the past. You will screw up again. Every human is born with the ability to make spectacular mistakes. You are not alone. Screwing up is not your special skill. Get over it. Dragging around guilt and self-criticism is beyond unhealthy and utterly pointless. Not to mention boring. You aren't a better person for feeling guilty or bad about yourself. Just a sadder one. Get clear on this one truth. Guilt, shame, and self-criticism are some of the most destructive forces in your life, which is why forgiving yourself is one of the most powerful. Here's an excellent way to do it. Think of a specific thing that you did that you feel badly about. Call it up in your mind and feel it in your body. Repeat the following over and over while thinking of it and really feel what you're saying to yourself. I like this, by the way. Holding on to my bad feelings about this is doing nothing but harming me and everyone else. and preventing me from enjoying my life fully. I am an awesome person. I choose to enjoy my life. I choose to let this go. I just got to work. I'm going to manifest a good day. You're welcome, honey. Good luck. Let us know. Check back in. I'll be back live later tonight, and you can let us know how that goes. And be persistent with it. Repeat this until you feel a sense of freedom and lightness around your issue. It may take a day or a week or several months, or it could happen right away. But however long it takes, do it. Because if you want to be free, you have to put in the time. And if you need to apologize to someone, pick up the phone. And finally, love yourself. Because it's the holy grail of happiness. So that was the end of that chapter. That was a big chapter today. So a lot of that is, right around, the way we speak to ourselves, the way that we speak about ourselves. Hey, Hope, how are you? We don't want to compare ourselves to others, right? We do things differently. We think differently. We operate differently. There's nobody is better than you, and you are better than nobody. Okay? A lot of people are like, but I want to be the best at this. Guess what? There will probably always be somebody who's better at something than you. Okay? Because they do it differently. And that's okay. Right? Be the best you can be. You're doing good. Doing good. Do your best. Acknowledge that you are doing your best. And don't hold on to this self-deprecating, attitude and behavior about yourself. You're incredible. You do amazing things. You do things differently than other people. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it what it is. Okay? If you don't like it, change it. But don't change it because somebody else is doing it differently. Right? Do what you love. Do what you feel is right. Right? And if you don't like the way that you do it, then change it. Right? But don't change it because you see somebody else who does it and they have success with it. Right? If you feel that's a good thing for you to try it. Right? But don't compare yourself to them because they've been doing it obviously longer. Whether it's a different way that people speak to others, or they do a job differently. You can learn from them and you can try it and maybe it works better for you and that's okay. Right? But don't compare yourself to them. If it feels good for you, do it. Right? If it feels right. But don't do something just because somebody else does it either. What is the best anyways besides everyone else's opinion? Exactly. Oh my goodness. I wish I could stop yawning. Let's see what else. I just read the whole friggin' chapter and you would think I would be aware of what I just read. A lot of this is just basically getting out of your own way. Stop putting yourself down. Notice that you bring unique qualities to this world. And you don't need to have the validation from others, right? And stop putting yourself down. I feel like that's one of the most important things. Is stop putting yourself down. Stop saying, man, I make stupid mistakes, right? Or, I always choose the best. Well, that's a little sarcasm, but that's okay. How many times have you maybe said to yourself, wow, I really choose the best winners. I really choose the best winners to date, right? And you're being completely sarcastic because you're like, wow, I was a fantastically nightmare of a date, right? Think about the things that you say. right? Think about them and and be aware of how you're feeling into them, right? Just be aware of those things that you say, because I can guarantee you are saying some really negative stuff about yourself. You're saying negative things about the things you choose, and you wonder why things aren't going your way. It's very important to notice those things. It's important to notice how you're speaking about yourself, how you're speaking to others about your choices, right? We all do it. We've all done it, and until we become aware of it, we will continue to do it. That's why awareness is key. Intention matters more than words. I will agree with that to a certain extent. Okay? I will, but your words have power. Okay? Like, and I will tell people, be a little sarcastic when you're trying to, like, when you're trying to manifest certain things. Like, you can sit there and say, wow, my husband is so sweet when he's being really grumpy. You can sit there and say, wow, he is so sweet. I love how sweet he is. Right? Because we don't want to keep saying, wow, he's being a real asshole today. Right? But your words do matter at times. But I do agree with intention is most important. Okay? More so intention, but how we feel about it. Okay? Um, because I can sit there and I can say, well, my husband is an asshole, but deep down I wanna feel that he is, you know, a sweetheart, and he, takes care of everything, he brings me flowers or candy or whatever, right? But if I'm sitting there saying he's an asshole, like, my head is going, wow, our husband's an asshole. Huh. Yeah, he brought us flowers, but he was a real dick about it. You know what I mean? Like, it is important to see what you're saying, but intention is very key. Yeah. Um. But I also feel that sometimes the words don't matter. That it is feeling into, like, because I can sit again on the flip side of that. I can sit there and say, wow, I'm so beautiful. But deep down, I'm feeling like, wow, I look really horrible today. So I get exactly what you're saying. Like, there's that situation where we want to change the way we believe, but it's hard to believe. Good morning, good morning. So yeah. I mean, I get both. I've been taught that the words don't mean anything. I have. Right? It's whatever we can feel into and what we can believe. But I definitely feel noticing what we're saying is definitely a big part of it. Because if we're saying all these bad things about ourselves, trying to create a different world, but we're still stuck in believing all the negative that we've told ourselves over the years, and we're speaking it, I think that's where you're gonna see a big hurdle to overcome. Don't be afraid of affirmations. Um, but work with something that you can truly believe in, right? I use the affirmations in the situation where I find myself keep getting tripped up. Um, yeah, there's life and death in the power of the tongue, so speak life and positivity. Yes, definitely. Good morning. But it's also, like, I I don't have affirmations that I write each day. I used to. I used to write affirmations. I was making up affirmations every day. Like, I swear to God, I probably wrote 30 different affirmations each and every day. Um, and I would only do it upon wake up, trying to set the tone for my day. It didn't work. I'm not saying it didn't work. It didn't work as fast as I wanted it to. And me writing the affirmations really didn't do anything, right? Aside from it would allow me to perhaps imagine a scene that affirmation could apply to. But at the end of the day, it was my imagination that was creating. Because everything starts with imagination. And that is our superpower. Um, but it helped in certain ways that when I would start to feel the negativity come through, right, I could say an affirmation to help pull me out of it, so then I can kind of shift at that point into what I truly want. Because there's going to be times where, you're like, man, I really want to have, I really want to have a big bank account. I want to have $10,000 in my bank account. Maybe that's not big to you. Maybe that's super big, right? But I can't even keep $100 in there, right? So there's going to be times where you're like, oh, okay, my bank account is full. I have 10 grand in my bank account, right? And then you're like, oh, but I only have $100, right? So it could be like, I create wealth in many different ways, right? Because you want to go down that, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to be able to save up $10,000. I'm never going to be able. You're going to start to spiral negatively. And we want to avoid that. We want to at least be like, okay, why do I feel I can't make that much money? Right? Again, what's the deep-rooted self-limiting belief? And then we work from there, right? It's usually, again, I'm worried I'm not good enough, or I don't think I'm strong enough. Like, I don't think I have the capability of saving because I'm afraid of money, or I hate money, or, every time I get money, something bad happens. Like, there's so much that's going on in the background. This is where you have to ask yourself these questions so you can rewire that brain of yours, right? So it's being aware of that and asking the questions and seeing where you can shift. Affirmations can keep you from going down the rabbit hole of suck. So we want to keep from going down that rabbit hole. But then we have to ask ourselves the questions of, what are we believing is true? Right? What are we believing is true that's keeping us from getting what is that we truly want? So, like I said, it could be that you have this firm belief that money doesn't grow on trees, right? Or every time I make a little bit of money, something bad happens, right? Or maybe you're just like, every time I get paid, I have to pay bills and I have nothing left, right? So it's important for you to notice and acknowledge what it is that you are truly believing. And then we work from there. So, but that's what I have for today on You Are a Badass. Does anybody have any questions or want to discuss anything before I hop off and get ready for my day? Come here, Willow. And if you don't, that's okay. You're welcome. I appreciate you guys being here every day, showing up, whether you can do it every day or not. Thank you. That's Willow. That's our older baby, although she's not that old. She's like 7 months. And then we have Rory. Rory. Psst, 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 psst. Come here, Rory. She doesn't want to come here. They're both wild. Oh, man. Yeah. So I would say today, one thing to do is really be aware of what you're speaking. Like, really pay attention to what you're speaking and saying, especially about yourself, and see if you can catch it. And instead ask yourself, whatever it is that you said, what would I rather say? What is it that I truly want, and what would I say if I already had it? Have a great day, Indigo. Lots of love, baby. So definitely pay attention to that, and then ask yourself, what would I say if I already had what I truly wanted? Right? Instead of saying, "Oh, I can't get a date to save my life." Well, what is it that I want? Well, I want to have a good relationship. I want to find somebody I can have a good relationship with, right? So what would I say instead? Instead of saying I can't get I can't get a date to save my life, right? You could be saying something along the lines of, I would say, I have a great relationship, or, I met my partner, um, you know, we whatever it is that you would want to say. You want, if the relationship is what you want. I don't want you to obviously tell people. They'll think you're crazy if you sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I'm in this amazing relationship." No, but I want you to just really think about, what would you say if you had what you wanted? If you had a relationship, you wouldn't be saying, "I can't get a date to save my life." You would be saying different things. Okay? You could say, my dating life is, phenomenal. I have so many, it's overwhelming on the choices I have, right? That's what you would say, whether you start saying it sarcastically or not. But, like, honestly, think about what you're saying. Notice what you're saying. What would you say differently if you had what you wanted? Um, and, again, we talk about this. You act differently. You would act differently if you were in a relationship, a very kind, caring relationship, right? When we're single and we're depressed and we feel like we're never going to find our person, we slouch, right? We talk about it. We're like, dating life sucks, right? I don't know. I haven't dated in forever. But when you're in a good relationship, when you're in a secure relationship, and when you feel truly happy, you're different. You're like, things are great. Like, we went on our first date, or we've been dating for a year now. Like, I can't believe this year went by so fast. Like, you carry yourself different. So make sure you're noticing the way you're carrying yourself too. Whether it's you're carrying yourself like this or like this, right? And when you notice you're down like this, what's the overall feel? Where are you? What are you imagining at that point? It's very important to notice what we're saying, notice how we're feeling, and just kind of gauge it that way. So that's what I have. Notice the words that you're saying today, especially about yourself. Notice how you're speaking about yourself, the situations. If you're practicing, like picking on yourself, don't. Stop beating yourself up. Stop making fun of yourself. Okay? Again, I understand it. We do it to protect ourselves in a way that if we say it to ourselves, it doesn't hurt when somebody else says it about us or to us. We don't want to live life that way. We want to live our lives, secure. We don't we don't need to beat ourselves up. There's plenty of people out there who've done it for us. Don't be that person. So with that, guys, I'm going to sign off. I will be coming. I have to check and see if we are doing Marci and Mandy Monday today. It's been a whole month without it. So, but otherwise, I will be on later tonight. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. Make it the best Monday ever. You got this, guys. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon.